Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Marion City Council regular meeting of October 13th, starting at 6:30, and we'll call roll.
Mr. Barr?
Present.
Mr. Ratliff?
Present.
Mr. Schauber?
Here.
Ms. Lang?
Present.
Mr. T. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Prater?
Here.
Mr. Dichtel?
Present.
Mr. R. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Rollins?
Present.
Mrs. Stoneberg?
Here. We start with our invocation. Pastor Brett Leisman of True Life Church. Thank you for being here.
Heavenly Father, again, a privilege to be in this room with all of these wonderful people. We have a lot of things that are different, but one thing we have in common, this city. So God, I just give you praise. I thank you for wisdom. We all look in the same direction. Just give you the glory for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I share. Okay, hopefully that's the only glitch of the evening.
IT shut it off, I think.
Clerk, we do have minutes now, is that correct?
Yes.
So, all of council has minutes? and-
Yes.
Okay.
There was a set put into packets late Friday. It was a
Mr. Dichtel?
I know you went through and corrected some misspellings, and I did too. There were only two changes that need to be made that would change the meaning. One is on page 11, where it said the treasurer who was not back in the room was supposed to be now back in the room. So that would be a significant change. And the other one, humorous, is page 8, where it said the treasurer would not be singing the contract, unless you want to, Mr. Ray. It's signing. It'll be signing. So other than that, there were just some spelling errors that have been corrected.
Mr. T. Smith?
I move we accept the minutes as submitted with any and all corrections to be done in the future by our clerk.
And Mr. Ratliff?
I'm just going to go on and say that I think we got additional changes this afternoon in our email.
yes.
I have not had a chance to open those up and read them. I just, I worked until after 5, and it's hard for me to go on record approving minutes that I haven't read.
Okay.
Would you like me to withdraw my motion?
That or it can die for lack of second if nobody wants to. But I just,
Seconded.
okay.
I didn't hear a second.
That was Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I withdraw my second.
I as well.
Mr. Smith, yes. All right. The second and the first have first, and the motion has been withdrawn. Old business. Item 1, ordinance 2025-094.
Ordinance vacating part of a 16.5-foot public alley lying south of lot 1695 and north of lot 1698 in the Park Addition situated in the city of Marion, Plat Book 2, page 60, and retaining permanent easement rights.
Mr. Barr, this comes from your streets and sewers committee?
Yeah, to come out of Streets and Sewers with a 3-0 recommendation to approve. The applicant is present, come through regional planning. I didn't see what the vote was there, but I have nothing to add, but I'm willing to answer any questions if we need be.
We have a public meeting scheduled for this, so let's start that right now, 6:35. Any comments or questions about this from council or from any attendee? Okay, hearing none. End that public hearing. Mr. Rollins?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, and looks like Mr. Prater has a second.
Second.
To approve the ordinance. All right.
Any more discussion?
Any further discussion from anyone? All right, hearing none, go ahead.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickle?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Ordinance is approved unanimously. Item number 2, ordinance 2025-097.
Ordinance amending the zoning map for the city of Marion by rezoning 144 Waterloo Street from an R1C Single Family High Density District to an R2 General Dwelling District.
This is from your committee, Mr. Prater.
Yeah, this come out of zoning and annexation committee with a 2-0 recommendation to approve. It is basically, gentleman wanted to tear down a dilapidated house, decomposing housing on Waterloo to build a duplex, not a side-by-side duplex, but one that goes front to back, which enabled it to fit into the location that it's in. And right now, any comments or any questions about this? I think we have a public hearing.
Yes. You bang that, gavel that in, it's 6:37 for a public hearing. Ms. Evelyn? I'm sorry, Mr. Schauber, go ahead first.
So am I understanding the map that's in front of us, the Marion City Planning Commission staff report that has the entire area R1C highlighted, and I believe the little blue block square is the property that's going to be, is requested to be R2. So would that be spot zoning?
It would. I wanted to bring that point up. One of the things in discussion at the City Planning Commission was, while they were in favor of having a duplex there, especially that sort of configuration that would be helpful, they were uncomfortable with the fact that that would result in a spot zone. So one of the things we're going to do at our next meeting is discuss some potential changes to the code so that there would be provisions where we could have the, not need to spot zone, either tweak the residential district to allow for situations in which they could have a duplex or kind of play around with the densities or other things. That was something that we felt could be useful to that neighborhood and maybe elsewhere. But they didn't want to have to always go to a rezone, a spot zone situation. So we think that we might be able to remedy that with perhaps a text change. I haven't quite decided what that would be.
Okay, so would that text change, how would it affect this?
It won't check. It'll just mean that this will go as is, as a kind of a spot zoning, but and not be impacted by anything further, but to try to mitigate the need to do spot zoning. We think we would like to, at least propose to council some options, maybe make them conditional uses or something where it doesn't call for an actual extreme rezoning.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. On this, you might want to stand by since we have a public hearing, just in case anyone has any questions. 6:39, we'll start that public hearing. Any questions or comments from anyone else on this issue? Mr. Ratliff?
I know that spot zoning can be kind of considered a dirty word and has been, but, you have a you have a house that is an eyesore and is gonna get torn down, and a duplex is going up. It's not, I mean, that's not even like a super significant change, and if that takes a spot zone, even if nothing else happens, the community's better for it.
That's kind of where the end of our conversation was that we weren't making a huge change to the character of the neighborhood. In fact, given that this had been abandoned structure and demolished and whatever, it was going to make something positive at least result. But anytime we start to feel that it's something that other people might want to do, at that point, if we do want to encourage them to do it, we really need to just kind of find a way for them to legally do it going forward, so this isn't just a one-off. Because that was kind of the feelings at that time, was this was not awful, but they felt pretty bad about the idea of the spot zoning. So what can we do to find something, thread that needle in for the future that might give the board a little more
Right.
flexibility and to offer such things with something less than a routine.
Thank you.
Evelyn,
Yes.
I have a question. You mentioned that you were taking a look at it to see what could be changed on it. Do you have a time frame on that?
Tomorrow, we're going to have City Planning Commission. So there, we have 2 regular cases just brought on by applicants, but we also have 2 topics that we were going to just start some conversation on. That would be housing within all these residential districts. What might be a good step, to allow for more flexibility in the housing, either duplex or maybe even up to a triplex, I don't know. Really just kind of start that conversation and then craft some suggestion to council. So that preliminary conversation will start tomorrow.
I mean, for this kind of a change, the most negative spot zone is the fact that there's an application fee and it takes time. So, if those 2 things could be fixed, that's, that would be the most beneficial.
Christian Dunstan, 2nd Ward Regional Planning. We didn't, as everyone said, we didn't like spot zoning. It's been drilled into us, you just don't do it. But the thing that kind of alleviated some of the hesitation on this one is the design of the property itself. It doesn't look like a duplex because it's front back. So the front of it will look like a house, and you'll just see a single entryway house. And that's where the one tenant will go in, and then he'll basically flip that around to the back of the house, and that's where the other tenant will go in. So you'll only see one entryway from the street, and it will not look like your standard duplex. So with that, and then a lot of explaining, it made it digestible that this is what we voted on and it came out.
Thank you. Mr. Bodine?
I'll just add to Mr. Dunstan's statement that it also has off-street parking for both tenants in the rear. That was another positive that we looked at.
All right. Anything further? Mr. Prater?
Yeah, I come out of the city planning with an 8-0 to approve, and spot zoning, I know people talk about it and everything, but anything that we can do, any minutia even, to improve the housing situation in Marion is a good thing. I mean, 2 people or residents or families going to have a chance to move into a brand new place, and this is a good thing. Clean, new, and it will improve the neighborhood, and anything that we can do to improve our neighborhoods and create a better living environment is a good thing.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. End this public meeting at 6:44. Mr. Dichtel?
Move to approve this.
A motion to approve from Mr. Dichtel and a second from Mr. Prater. Any other points of discussion or questions? Hearing none.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
No.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries 8-1. Moving on to new business, item number 3, ordinance 2025-104, commercial building code.
Ordinance requesting codification to enforce the state of Ohio's building codes as to commercial building codes within the city of Marion.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes, this came out of legislation and codes. We had a pretty lengthy meeting on this the other night. Mr. Shaver is here to answer questions, I believe, and Mr. Bodine is here. This involves enforcing the state of Ohio building codes, and there's something else that goes with it next to create a commercial building inspection department in the city. So is there anything either one of you gentlemen would like to say before we?
No, I would just like to say that Mr. Shaver was kind enough to join us again today, so I feel like he explained it pretty well last time he was here. But he came here in case anybody had any further questions.
Mr. Schauber?
Yeah, thank you for coming again, and the committee was very informative, your presentation. But the one thing that we did not get to drill down on was the dollars. Can we get a brief wrap-up of that? Because at one point you said the city, you bill hourly, and you kind of have a fee structure that some of the fees for the permits will capture that. So if we could drill down on that so it's a little more clear for us.
I'll step up here if that's okay.
Yes, please step. Yep.
Go ahead, give us your name and title for the record.
Eric Shaver, I'm the owner of Building Health, Safety, and Welfare. Yeah, that's a great question. Let me go back to my notes here and just refer back to kind of what we talked about before and see if I can help explain this just a little bit more.
Madam President, while he's looking for that, if we could just follow our rules, and I'll make a motion to allow outside residents to speak.
Oh. Well, I thought he was invited, so.
Well,
But yeah, you're right. Okay, we have a motion to allow an outside speaker to speak. And a second from Mr. Dickel.
Hold on a second.
Thank you.
We need to.
Hold on. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. All right.
Sorry about that. Thank you. So essentially what we are trying to aim to do is, as we talked about last time, is get net zero cost for building department operation with a modest return. And the reason that we're doing this is because it's not necessarily something that can be funded from, I'll just use this term, I'm not sure it's the correct term, but the general funds of the city. And so typically, and this is not unusual for other jurisdictions as well, they treat these kind of services as a user fee. So if you are a user of the building department, that is, you need a building permit, there will be fees affiliated with that. And so that person pays those fees. And so we're able to capture the operation of the building department for essentially what is just user fees and not really the general, I'll just call it again, general fund. But that's how we're trying to approach this. The modest return that I keep talking about is we're always looking to capture just a little bit more for a variety of reasons. One reason might be that we have some extraordinary circumstance where we need to continue to have the building department operational because it is certified and the state would require it to continue to operate when there might be a lack of resources. As I kind of mentioned last time, let's imagine that there's some odd event like COVID where the economy stopped and then it starts again and we have this real economic lull really throughout the U.S. That would be kind of a situation where these modest returns would be utilized to continue to operate the building department in accordance with the ordinance and the state of Ohio. So, in terms of the fee structure itself, there are two kinds of fees that are there. There are fixed fees, which are ongoing or recurring fees that happen and are fairly fairly stable. They don't really change. They're incurred mostly by the operation of the building department itself. That would include mostly administration, receiving applications and fees, processing permits, in processing and out processing permits. Those things would be administrative costs that I would just generally classify as fixed. They don't change very much from month to month, typically. There might be some change here and there due to permit volume, but again, they remain relatively stable. The other side of the equation is a variable cost. And so those variable costs are usually the fees that the contractor that is providing building department services incurs. So a good way to think about it is, let's imagine that there are 3 permits turned in per month that require plan review. That contractor will perform those plan reviews. He assesses some fee. Let's imagine it's $100, hypothetically $100 per each permit. So that's $300 that would be a variable fee. Now next month it might be 5. Let's imagine that it's 5 times 100 would be 500. So you can kind of see that fee just goes up with permit volume, if that makes sense a little bit. Those fees come directly from the fees that the user will pay for those hours. So each, let's imagine there's $100 in hours used for each of those 3 fees. If contractor X says, this is the plan review, that contractor X will pay that $100, okay? And contractor Y, $100, contractor Z for the 3rd permit, $100, and that covers the cost of the variable cost. Same principle with inspections. If contractor A calls for an inspection, there's 3 inspections, A, B, C, and let's imagine that they amount to $100 a month. Each one of them will pay for $100, and that covers the cost of the inspections. So that's the variable part. The variable part of the entire fee structure covers roughly 75 to 95% of the entire cost of the operation of the building department.
And by that, you include the inspectors, the plan reviewer, and our staff that handles the permitting and receiving fees.
All of the fixed fees and the variable cost, that's your staff and a firm like mine, my staff, out of 100% of those operational costs, 75 to 95% come from those fees from contractor A, B, and C for inspections, or X, Y, and Z for plan reviews. It's not often, 75-25 is actually kind of an unusual split. My other jurisdictions, I'm coming to 90 to 95%. Okay, so a lot of the fees that are borne by the fee structure are actually variable costs borne by the users themselves. Does that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, I think so. So, because I wasn't real clear, like if there's a plan review or if there's just a one-time, so there's a user fee, we'll use that term, at every step. So a plan review, at an inspection, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct. So let's imagine for a minute, back to contractor X, Y, and Z. Let's imagine contractor X, for example, does not get his plans approved in the first plan review, and he has to have the plans reviewed again. He will pay for the second time the plans are reviewed.
Okay.
So each and every time, those fees are borne by the applicant.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions from council? Mr. Barr?
If the city of Marion would go with a third-party building department, could the contractors, do they have to use you, or could they just bypass you and still use the state out of Columbus, or are they required to use this third party? I'm just curious if there's an option there, if they wanted to wait or pay a little less and wait, since that seems to be the big issue with delays, or do they have to use the party that's coming in?
It's my understanding that once an ordinance is passed, the state essentially certifies the building department to perform all of the functions of the building department, and the state no longer provides those for the community that it served.
Okay.
Mr. Ratliff, do you have a question?
A couple questions about numbers. So what is a typical or average fee that a person, let's say they had 2 plan reviews from A to Z with your firm? What is the cost?
Most plans are reviewed in 4 hours or less. And so the plan review, for example, if I'm not mistaken, it's about $100 an hour roughly. And so that would be $400 for the plan review. Okay? And so there are obviously more complicated projects. I mean, clearly a nursing home or the hospital would be more complicated than your average restaurant or something like that. But on the average, 4 hours covers a lot of plans that come in.
And then, will you walk us through, so there's the review, what other steps are you needed for? Inspection?
Yeah, so it's a 3-step process. The first step is plan approval, which is part of that is plan review. The second step is inspections, and there are several inspections that may be required for a specific building, depending on the scope of the work and that's been approved. And then the third step is the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. So if steps 1 and 2 are completed and they are acceptable in accordance with the building code, then you have to issue the certificate of occupancy in step 3.
So about how much is an inspection?
The inspections, I think they come in at, if I remember correctly, they're at, I want to say $90 an hour, if I remember, something in that range.
And that would include you driving here from Columbus?
Oh, yes.
And how long does an inspection take?
It depends on the inspection. It's interesting. What I encourage contractors to do is to get as many inspections at one time as they can. Because an inspection might take 15, 20 minutes, but if I have on that same site 3 inspections, you get the benefit of an entire hour's work, and so you're using up that $90 as much as possible. We typically try to work with the contractors when we're in the field and try to get them to group up the inspections and make it much more efficient and effective. And usually, when I start, I have a field consultation and we say, hey, let's look at our required inspections, let's see if we can sort of group up on and see how we can do this efficiently and effectively.
So let's just say, average and typical downtown restaurant coming in. How many inspections typically would they have to have?
Approximately 8 to 10, probably. Approximately that many.
Okay, and if you didn't group those together, you'd be looking at, well, about
roughly
about
$800 to $1,000, yes.
Well, if you count drive time, you'd be looking.
That does count the drive time. Does that make sense?
It's an hour drive each way, right?
Yeah, it is an hour's drive. and there's a minimum of an hour's fee. So let me be clear, it would include, it does not include that drive time. But let's imagine for a second he didn't group those, okay? And he only spent 15 minutes in some minor inspection, right? I wouldn't charge him an hour for that 15 minutes. I would probably only charge him the 2 hours to get here. Or I might have another inspection in Marion grouped up with it, so he just has to pay the hour itself, right? And then go to the next one.
There's not a set rule?
If I have grouped up the set rule is this: the time I use to perform the inspections, that's the time that gets charged. And so we're looking to make it efficient and effective, so that, for example, if somebody calls in for an inspection, let's imagine for 1 second that next Tuesday they call in for an inspection, okay? And I would usually try to arrange that inspection at a time where I can pick up one right after that, one right after that, and one right after that. To pick up as many as possible, again, to operate the building department in the most efficient and effective way possible.
Okay. And then how much, is there an additional fee for the certificate of occupancy?
There is, that fee has not been determined at this time as far as what the applicant pays. There typically is. It's fairly minor. It's, my other jurisdictions, it's $75 to $100 just to write that. It's usually paid up front with some of the other fees once we issue a building permit itself.
Okay, so just for laws of average, it seems like if you have some review, you have a few inspections, and the certificate, you're looking possibly around $2,000 total.
That may be a little bit high, but it's going to be somewhere between probably $1,500 and $2,000.
Okay, and if that same service was done with the state, what does it cost there?
That service cost depends on square footage and the size of the project, and then they do not charge for, once you pay that square footage fee, you do not pay for inspections or plan review. They cover that all in that fee.
So give me a number. Typical downtown restaurant, what would the state charge?
Let's see. Let me, you mind if I get a calculator out?
Nope.
If you're all right with that?
Should we hum the Jeopardy theme song?
Roughly, the way I read this, it is roughly, let's imagine that it's 2,000 square feet for a restaurant, which is not too big or too small. They're at $6.95 per 100. That's $139, and then they also charge for the cost for your trade permits as well. So let me write a few things down. I'll total this up for you to get kind of the cost here. Bear with me, sorry about that.
You are fine. We appreciate you coming and doing this.
Sure. So I come up to about $650 roughly. Now that does not include any plumbing permits, okay? Because your health department performs the plumbing permits.
Mr. Kell, did you want to ask?
Maybe I can help out a little bit. When we had our meeting with Mr. Shaver, we asked him how much this would add to what the state cost, and didn't you tell us it's roughly like a 1% increase on the total project?
Yes, when you look at the total project cost, this is adding a very small amount. It varies a little bit, but 1% is about accurate. So when we look at the total project cost in that same restaurant, we're talking about going from, maybe 1% to 2%, okay, of the overall cost. So although seems like a large difference between 1,500 and 640, proportionally to the entire cost of the project, it really does not add a tremendous amount. And so the question I think that you have to decide is that 1% of the total cost of the project, approximately 1%, is that worth the savings in time and the convenience of having some of the problems that I think you've had, as I understand it, in the community with the construction development, having some of those alleviated? I think that's the question that you might want to consider, or one question anyway to consider.
Mr. R. Smith? Go ahead.
You were talking at the committee meeting about the delays that the state has, which adds to the cost of the project, right? Which is not really a calculated cost because you don't know what the delays are going to be. But in your situation, you're bound by what, 30 days?
So for all plan reviews, I have to perform those within 30 days, and inspections have to perform within 4 days of the request of the inspection. So at this time, the state is simply not able to meet those timeframes. And so I think that's part of the concern that you folks are having with, and some of the citizens are having with the timeframes. Another concern that, as I understand it, is that maybe there's different inspectors that are coming out. One says, hey, I want it done method A, and the other one says method B. And so maybe there's some confusion between inspectors or within the administration of the code itself, is probably the best way to say it. And so that, I'll just call it that disagreement, results in a potentially a failed inspection, which results in an even longer time frame, which is not helping the situation with the time frame. Okay, one of the things one of the things that's occurring here is that there isn't that person that's readily available in the chief building official position at the state to sort of make a decision and make a determination within, actually it's a required 72-hour time frame. So there's a dispute between two inspectors, or there's a dispute between one inspection and a past inspection. The code requires that the chief building official take action within 72 hours to resolve that dispute one way or the other. And as we discussed at the last meeting, there's really only a couple of things that can really change how that inspection should be interpreted different than the approved plans. One, it's a serious hazard. Somebody will be hurt or killed once that building is occupied. Second, the condition is unsanitary. There's perhaps sewage on the floor, resulting in an unsanitary condition. Or three, it's an unsafe condition, being the building will structurally collapse. Unless you have one of those three conditions as a chief building official, you're required under the code to approve whatever has been installed in accordance with the approved plans. So I'm not sure, I have to be honest, I'm not sure what's transpiring at the state. I don't know how they're getting to that position where they're able to create this conflict. But what I can say is that conflict, as we kind of mentioned last time, is not really going to be an issue probably with a firm like mine, because that chief building official is really readily available to consult. And in my case, I'm the inspector and the chief building official. So as I mentioned, it's a fairly short chain of command, and And so I just really kind of have to ask myself, is it one of these three things? It's not, then we have to prove it.
Another question.
Mr. Arcee, sure.
I'd like to go back to what you said about a modest return. What are we talking as far as a modest return? Are we talking, $5? Are we talking 1%, 2% of the cost? And then I have a follow-up question too.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me try to answer this one first and explain what I mean by modest return. So what I find is that in other jurisdictions, for every $100 that's paid to the contract building services department service provider, approximately $30, and it varies by permit volume, okay? Approximately $30 is actually returned in fees for this modest return, okay? And so that, again, the purpose of that is to get through some very, maybe trying economic times would be an example of when you might want to use that.
Okay. And my follow-up was, on this modest return, does that go into like a rainy day fund, or does that go into profit, or where does that go?
Well, that would go into purely your operational budgeting mechanism, whatever that is, whether that's a rainy day fund that you guys would establish, or whatever funding mechanism that you guys, it does not come to me.
Okay.
That return does not come to me.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anything further? Mr. Ratliff?
So I was just doing some additional numbers and adding up stuff here, and I think at one point you used 3 and 1.5 a month as far as applications turned in. So I kind of went with 4, which is right in between, and I don't know if that's about what a city our size would have, is about 4 applications a month.
Right now, based on the most preliminary information that I have in the state of Ohio, you do about 8 applications a month.
Okay. So 8 applications a month would be about $175,000 a year money that would generate. Somewhere in that ballpark for the entire year. And if that fee covered 75 to 95%, then the general fund, I'm assuming, is what would cover the remaining amount, which, again, just using ballpark figures, is going to be about $25,000 a year that the general fund would be subsidizing this department the way that I understand the math as you have described it to us tonight.
The general fund receives for $100, it receives about $30. So what the part I think you're missing is the fees that are taken in that does not get paid to the contractor. I think that's the part you might be.
The fixed fees.
Yeah, the fixed fees, that may be. So you are really not, the general fund is not being utilized to run the department. It's actually being supplemented by the operation of the building department. To the tune of roughly 40, it varies every month, but let's imagine $40 a month.
So when you said earlier, because I wrote down, I thought your exact wording, it's 75 to 95% of the entire cost.
Correct, and so when that, to be clear, when that operates, okay, it generates funds above that 100% of the operation. You understand what I'm trying to say?
No.
So for every $100 that the building department uses to operate, it actually collects $30 more. You understand what I'm trying to say?
So explain to me, when you say that the fees taken in by the people who, what we kind of dubbed as user fees, covered, I thought you said 75 to 95% of the entire cost. So explain to me what you mean by that, if I don't, because it sounds to me like the money that we take in covers 75 to 95% of the entire cost. I just take it literally.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Let me try to make it clear. The money that is paid for user fees by somebody that needs plan reviews or inspections alone, not the total permit fee itself. So there's the permit fee that covers the fixed costs, and then the variable costs are covered only by user fees. Those variable costs represent anywhere between 75 to 95% of the total operational cost of the building department. The fixed fees themselves cover the variable cost, and they result in about 40 more dollars. So let's imagine for a second here that you received in a month $140 in intake from variable cost for plan reviews and inspections and for permits. Okay? 90 of those dollars, of those $140, go to a contract service provider like myself. The remaining $50 actually goes to, however we talked about that general fund process. Some of that gets put into a rainy day, some of it gets used for administrative fees here at the city. Is that a little clearer?
That is clearer to me than it was in the start, yes.
Yeah, I apologize.
Anything else?
The only other thing I would suggest is that in the next meeting or two, that we could reach out to somebody from the state and have them, I think during the committee and then, tonight, I think that things are said kind of on their behalf of the service that they're providing, that, I don't know if it's fair or not. And if they had an opportunity to come here and talk to us, maybe maybe they could provide us answers or clarification that we couldn't get any other way. If our clerk could do that, if that's council's will, I think that would possibly be beneficial.
Mr. Bodine, you want to address that, and then I'll take your question, Ms. Lang.
Yeah, quite honestly, I appreciate that approach, but I would like to personally invite any contractor that goes through this process, anybody watching, anybody that's already here, to come forward and tell us your experience, because I think we're going to get a more true, accurate experience from the people that are here, that have been working in this community and have dealt with the state for many years. So I would propose that over getting somebody that's just going to tell you what they're supposed to do, in my opinion. That's just my thought.
Ms. Lang?
Just for clarification, you do all the inspections except for plumbing? You do electrical, building? Can you kind of give me an idea on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, right now, plumbing by itself is performed by, what I understand, I think the county health department is providing that. And that has actually been contracted out to Delaware County for plan review and for inspections. I don't think there's any proposed change at this time to that program. I think people are, satisfied with that. And so they're happy with that approach. So my thought process, if it's not broken, don't fix it. A firm like mine would provide building inspections, mechanical inspections, and electrical inspections. Okay? In this case, I am proposing to perform the building inspections and the mechanical inspections, and I have an associate that performs the electrical inspections.
Okay. And it's my understanding with the fees and stuff then that everything is a set hourly fee. There's no prorating. The fees, if you come to Marion and you do more than one building, you said you try to schedule like a couple of inspections with different buildings, or is that different inspections with the same contractor?
So generally, there's a minimum set hourly rate. And so in the case of Marion, because of this 1 hour drive, I would expect that that would probably be about an hour and a half. That'd be the minimum. And so the idea is that we would try to get, it might be different, to be honest with you. It might be different. We haven't even discussed the minimum hourly rate yet, so I'm not even entirely sure that's accurate. But the idea would be to line up contractor A, and then line up contractor B, and then line up contractor C, so that they don't incur necessarily all those hourly rates. It could be a typical hourly rate, is a typical minimum rate, may or may not be applicable here, is an hour. That's typical. And so we would try to align that so that, obviously what we're trying to do is to service each contractor to the best of our ability and make it efficient and effective. And, you know, we're obviously trying to get paid for the services we provide. Clearly that's true. But we're not here to excessively charge somebody for services that are not merited. That's not why we're here. And I don't know that any service provider would do that. I'm certainly not interested in that at all. Really, that would be how we try to make it efficient and effective, is try to get. Now let's imagine that they could not get somebody. That might result in that minimum hour and a half fee, or the minimum hour fee. It could result in that, yes.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Barr?
During the committee, there were some questions about being available to be able to look at some of these things, probably pre-plan review, because I think that's been a huge issue here is, you know, things go to the state for the plan review, and let's just say there's a building downtown and they're going to replace all the windows in there. Well, and on the drawings there, they're like, that's structural, and they call it structural permit because they haven't been here to look at it. When we know it's a block building, brick face, there's lintels in place, and that's not actually structural. You said that you would be able to take phone calls and be able to talk with some of these developers or contractors. How does that work? Is that billable, or is that just a good faith gesture to try to help them to get this process going?
Well, usually if somebody calls me, you know, that's an effective way to do it. Typically, I'll you know, if it results in a permit, I might add, you know, if it was 15 minutes, add 15 minutes, and that's a case of prorating a little bit of time. If they say, no, you know, there's a lot more than windows, I've got, you know, a whole laundry list of things I'd like you to take a look at, that may merit a site visit. That's okay with me.
Because I think that's what I'm gathering that's most wanted, is the site visit, to be able to help them get situated to expedite some of these, so they can get, you know, the whole goal of them is to get to their ROI as quick as possible.
Sure, of course, and I think that's probably an accurate depiction. So yeah, we would probably include a little bit of time for whatever time is in there to perform that inspection. That's one of those cases where that, you know, if I had contractor A, B, and C, hey, can you wait until 3 o'clock and I'll pick you up at 3 o'clock and we'll come over and look at your building at that time. That's a real effective way to line up that kind of situation. Again, we're trying to make this as efficient and effective as possible. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you for coming today. I think we leave this as a first reading, right?
Yes.
And when do we schedule a public hearing on this?
There isn't.
There won't be one? Okay. I'm new at this.
Leave it at first reading.
All right, thank you.
One last comment. I think the most important thing that I learned tonight was that if we adopt this, then all permits have to be pulled within the city of Marion. Contractors or developers will no longer have the option to go to Columbus.
State's out.
To the state, yes. So I believe Mr. Bodine encouraged contractors to show up, and I would really love to hear everyone's opinion, because in our really rough scenario that Mr. Ratliff laid out, $600 versus $2,000, that's a lot of money to me. But I don't know how it is in the construction world, but If we do move forward with this, we will take that option away from people.
All right. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Shaver.
Thank you.
guys, thank you very much.
You got a hand up in the back. Madam President, you have a hand up in the back.
Sorry, yes.
Good evening. I was asked to come up and give perspective of a contractor who does full state permits.
Name and address.
Josh Daniels, 1093 Edison Avenue, Marion, Ohio.
Thank you.
The state of Ohio has had some form of a building code since 1911. That has been a commercial code. Most people in the construction industry have accepted the commercial code is here and will probably be here the rest of our lives. So I don't think anyone's bucking a commercial code that manages buildings, public spaces, gas stations, etc. My comment to the individual that was invited up here, when you give life to something, it either dies or it grows. And that analogy means that if we step back to 2000, and I'm sure there are some of you that are old enough to remember the black signs all over town when the city of Marion elected to adopt a residential building code. The unfortunate part about that is that the out-of-town contractor in that case began to add things on like roof inspections and to generate revenue. Eventually it got over cumbersome and there was just enough people to put it on the ballot and it went down 61 to 39%. So my warning was this: if you were to do this, don't overreach. Don't put yourself in a position in which now you've got a commercial building department that doesn't have enough revenue to pay the secretary and the administrative costs or the inspections, et cetera, because I can guarantee you or the next council will be lobbied to, we're qualified to do those residential inspections. We could introduce that. And then you've overreached. And if Sulu is here, he'll be my witness. This room had standing room only when that occurred. They were out in the hall, they were down the steps, the elevator was jammed, no one could get in it. There was at least 300 people, and that was during Jack Kellogg's administration. It was just a bad scene. It virtually turned into a riot. The cops were called up. They were asked, we're not here to fight. So that might remember that. People do not want to pay $75 to have their ceiling fan inspected. I'll just put that out there. They don't want you in their house, at least in this community. Commercial codes, however, how these differ, and I can sense there's some of you remember that because there's some reluctance to go further with commercial code. They're separable. You've already got a commercial code now, and that's from the state. You have to just determine whether you can, one, operate it locally, and whether you can do so more efficiently than from the state. To be quite honest, my experience with the state is this. In the last 3 permits that I've had to pull, one was for a billboard. That went very smoothly. I think it cost $295, might have had 3 inspections, maybe 6 were allowed on the permit. The second we're working on is a scale house. It's 400 square feet. It's not a very large building, but it does cover mechanical, it covers electrical, and it covers structural. I think that permit probably cost, that might have been $700 or $800. They did send back, you'll send a plan down, you'll have an architect send a plan down. They'll generally send you a correction letter to the architect that says, these are the things we want you to more identify, or tell us what this is, or change that. So the fees come from the architect. That drives the price too. If you have them at the state rejecting your plans over and over and over again, you're going to continue to pay $145 an hour to your architect to pay 5 hours to work that out, send them a correction letter. So there's more cost involved than just what we pay the city. Of those 3 inspections, timeliness, the structural engineer from the state is a great guy. I don't have any trouble with him. He's on the larger facility, which is the transfer station. That has been a months long ordeal of letters back and forth, probably plowed in another $6,000 to the architect to write correction letters. That has been a little more difficult, and I would not have wanted to pull permits during COVID because the state decided that it would have everyone work at home. And I'm sorry, they just didn't cut off their favorite soap opera to answer the phone. They just didn't. I don't know who thought that the work from home works, but it don't work at all. I'll give you examples of that, but I won't. So I think that if my memory serves me correct, I believe that a contractor, at least used to, it could have been revised, has the right to go to a state or to the state when it comes to building permits if there's just some local dispute. I've never exercised that. We do, Union County or something like that, then you're stuck with a residential department, but I do believe that you're allowed to go to the state. Could be incorrect. But at any rate, on a second note, you'll have to create an appeals process. You can't have one individual who's also the inspector and the chief building official make the binding decision at the end. You could probably realize that. None of you would have the authority to overrule that. If someone called and said, hey, the code says this and he says this, you need a board for that. And that'll have to be a board you appoint certain professionals, just like the state does. But you'll end up with a snafu if you don't have an appeals process, whether you're doing it or, and the state does too. You can go to appeal any decision they make. Maybe they'll agree with you, maybe they won't. That's pretty much all I've got. I'm neutral on the idea. You won't know whether you like it or not until it's implemented or it's not implemented.
So your main concern is mission creep into residential codes, from what I'm hearing?
Let me say that I do residential building and have plans to build residentially. It would probably be outside the time frame in which that would happen. I'll be honest, I'm getting to be about 55, and
you're young.
I've got some days that when it comes to construction, I don't know. That don't mean hit it, but we've gotten into other businesses. So personally, I am not as rambunctious about it as I was when I was 29 years old, handing out petitions and black bumper stickers. That's how I got into politics. I'm not that guy anymore. But they're still out there. That generation didn't go away. Sean, I'm looking at you, you talk to them every day. I mean, they wouldn't accept a $75 ceiling fan inspection. That comes from Westerville, by the way. It's right in their code. I used to joke with Mr. Knapp and say, hey, you building department charging $75 for a ceiling fan. Oh, no. I said, right here it is. But we had fun with that. Is there anything else I can ask for you or answer for you?
I have a quick question. Do you think having our own third party here locally will expedite the process of plan reviews and inspections?
I would put myself in a position, it depends on who you hire and how efficient they are. I don't know this gentleman here. He might be, Johnny on the spot.
I think that's the biggest push in this, or the driving factor in this, is expediting some of the delays that the state gives us.
Oh, that's absolutely. I don't think it's all price determinant. I think if you hire someone who is encouraged to do a good job, they don't have that position for granted. You put it out in shorter contract terms, such as a 2-year contract, a 1-year contract, and if you end up with a buttload of complaints about service, then it's time to, and then the person you hire will know that. He'll know he has to perform to keep the position, and he'll want to keep the contract, so he'll keep you happy. But don't hand out 5-year contracts or 10-year contracts and You know,
As a contractor, would you be willing to pay a little more for that third party to have an expedited process versus going through the state and jumping through those hoops and not knowing how long
I'm
that
not
turnaround would be?
In that third project I told you about, I'm not certain that I would pay more. I may pay less because in that particular case, I paid the architect more than I paid the state. They've been reasonable on their
The transfer
fees.
station?
Yeah, they just, goodness gracious, every return letter is a month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and they're not even on the COVID schedule now. So if I could save money on architects, then maybe I would pay more in inspection fees just to, times money. So that shouldn't be your sole consideration. It really depends on how well he performs or she performs.
Mr. Schultz?
Josh, you may not know that my answer to my question, Mr. Shaver, which is more profitable, commercial code enforcement or residential? Or a third-party agency?
Residential is more profitable.
Yeah, let's stop talking about residential.
So then if...
Residential would be more profitable because of this. Let's say you create a system in which if it doesn't work for you, you reverse your ordinance. You disband the building department. That's a possibility. And have no shame in it. Say, we tried it for a year, we tried it for 2 years, it didn't fit. So we disbanded the commercial building department and went back to the state. There's competition in that marketplace. So whoever you hire from the private sector will always have what the state does and charges and its service as a competitive factor. In residential, dude, we were stuck. Brian O'Connor just, reined the rails and just said, you're gonna pay. And $90 for roof inspections and siding, and it just went crazy. People were just infuriated. And it was mostly them.
So residential being more profitable, this little bit of a gap in the door that we're opening by potentially having a building code enforcement department, profit sometimes can be a dirty word, could lead to a building code.
I will tell you my general feeling. You will undoubtedly, and I would give it within the next 5 to 10 years, if you create a commercial building department, you'll be back in one of these meetings, and you will be being lobbied to create a residential department that goes along with that commercial department. And then that's when, in my assessment, I don't know, maybe not me, but there's a lot of bright young bucks out there that, get that petition out there, and once it's done once and shown to them, they'll do it again. It's not very hard. Then it goes to the ballot and it gets whacked out again, then you don't have a commercial department, so all your investments in that are gone. So you just have to make sure, if you're gonna do it, you keep the dog in the cage and don't overstep. But yeah, there'll be pressure, there's no doubt. You create this, you'll have pressure for residential building. Not all councils will feel like you. There was one 20 years ago that said it was a great idea, unanimously put it in, and then all of a sudden, 61 to 39% issue, my God, you put your name on that? Didn't listen to the people. They didn't. They're not councilmen anymore either. But it's a long time ago. Anything else?
Good insights, thank you.
Thank you.
It helps.
Mr. Chairman?
Can I address the appeals, because he brought up a good point?
Come on
Is
back
that
up.
okay? And sir, I really appreciate that point concerning the appeals. First off, the Ohio Board of Building Appeals hears all commercial appeals matters. The only jurisdiction that I'm aware of in the state of Ohio that has their own appeals board is City of Cleveland. All other building departments actually utilize the Board of Building Appeals. And I will tell you right now, sir, if somebody has a dispute with an interview or inspection, or as a decision as chief building official, I actually want you to exercise your right to appeal. I want that people to have that right. That people should not have a person say, no, this is my opinion, this is the end of the road. That's not how, I mean, I don't know how other building officials work, but that's not how I work. And I encourage people, if you've got a dispute, appeal it. Oftentimes, when people have a dispute, I agree with them and say, look, the commercial code just says this is the code as it reads. I'm sympathetic to your situation. I actually will go with you to the Board of Building Appeals and speak on your behalf, because I think this should be appealed and it should be upheld. About 50% of the appeals that I work through at the Board of Building Appeals are actually supported by myself and the fire department. So really, I think people should have the right to appeal when they're when something is not to their preference. I'm 100% for people's appeal rights, 100%. So I just wanted to make that very clear, that I want to make sure that you understood that I definitely want people to, at least as far as the building official, I encourage people to appeal. I really do.
Thank you, Mr. Shepard.
Thank you. All right. Anything else on that? All right, we'll leave it at the first reading and move on to item number 4. Ordinance 2025-105, commercial building inspections.
Ordinance to establish the City of Marion Commercial Building Code Enforcement Department.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes, this goes hand in hand with the last discussion we just had. This just establishes the commercial building department within the city to do the function of what we just discussed.
First reading.
First reading.
All right. Yes, Mr. Kelly? Mr. Kelly, is your phone off?
I muted it, and it's still, I don't know.
Been a little busy today.
Yes. Sulu Kelly, 365 East Farming. Mr. Harris, you might like this question. If you pass this and build a building code enforcement department, how is it being paid for? This is your wheelhouse, if you will.
Yes, Mr. Rollins? No?
No. We're already here.
Mayor Collins?
75 to 95%.
That's what I'm just gonna say. I mean, I think we just talked about it for an hour.
How it would be paid for, which would be a neutral cost to the city, and cost would be borne by permits that were issued, and the company would be paid for those permits. So I think that's pretty clear.
If I heard everything, it was paying the company. I never heard anything saying
Yes.
it was paid
Yes.
departments.
Yes. Yes. That was part of the fees that come back and all of that. And it's just one person in the engineering department that's taking the permit fees and getting it to.
Doing it part-time then?
Correct.
All right.
Got it.
Anything else? All right. We've got a first reading, and move on to item number 5, ordinance 2025-106, Economic Development Director.
Ordinance to amend ordinance number 1969-29, known as the Yarger Report, as ordinance 1982-154 created the position of Economic Development Director. Council now finds real and present need to reestablish the position.
Mr. Teese?
Yes, this came out of Municipal Services Committee with a 3-0 recommendation. Well, there was no recommendation, but it came out of committee. Director of Economic Development, there is some amendments that I would probably recommend to this, at least 4 that I have. So I don't know if there's any discussion that you would like to have prior to that, or if you would like to just get right into that.
Mayor Collins?
Yeah, I can give a brief overview again, like we did last week or during committee. Obviously, this legislation was born out of a feeling that Can-Do was no longer a good fit for our economic development for the city of Marion. The county ended up feeling that same way, and after long discussions with Can Do, they are in the process of trying to restructure who they are and what they do that would complement what we're seeking to do here, which is the old economic development director position goes back to like 1982. There's obviously a lot of changes that we've made to the new job description for that. It was a several-step process, a lot of research from surrounding counties and areas to see what people are doing now in the field of economic development and how that looks in their city or their community. We did reach a tentative agreement with the commissioners and the county that each one of us would pay $80,000 toward the salary of this person, toward the salary and benefits. And our hope is that Can Do as an organization would continue to fund the department aspect of that, meaning a lot of the extra essential costs that would come with having a department. So we would pay the salary of the director, which would be about, Can Do and their latest budget, the salary of the director was probably 2/3 at least of what their total budget was. So we're taking that off the plate and bearing that cost between the city and the county. We have a job description put together, and that is our hope, is to, at some point after we have a lot of conversation, if there is something to be had on this, to get where we want to be and move this forward so we can start posting the position to see what we get as far as applications.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. R. Smith?
Mayor, if this passes, will council of the city of Marion still be expected to subsidize Can Do?
No. So that's a very good question, Mr. Smith. I'm glad you reminded me to touch on that. So we had been paying up until this year, $41,000 and change. I think $41,600. The county was paying $50,000-ish, $60,000 a year. So we would certainly not be paying our 80 plus that 41, and Can Do is very aware of that all the money that we pay will all go toward the salary of the director, and the same with the county.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Mr. Rollins?
Yeah, I'd just be curious as to what Councilman Smith's amendments are.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rollins. May I?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one was brought up to us by Mr. Ratliff. In the summary, the second and fifth line, it says executive director rather than economic director. So that needs to be changed. The second one, I would like to place in there, they should reside in Marion County within 90 days of the hire. And I think that should be placed under, well, technically right now it's preferred qualifications. But I have another one that I'm recommending is under preferred qualifications. I think we should remove the word preferred and change it to required qualifications.
Where is that?
In the body of the ordinance, or of the description.
The change preferred
to required.
I don't think we can do that. A point of order before we go on and try to figure this out. So if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Thaddeus Smith, you're trying to amend the exhibit that's separate from the ordinance. I think we can only amend the ordinance. Am I correct in that thought?
So it depends on how the exhibits are referred to in any ordinance. In this particular ordinance, it's referring to them as attached exhibits. So they're open.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole if we couldn't. So
So
disregard then.
I would recommend, however, to Councilman Smith, let's take these one at a time.
One at
if
a
you
time?
would. Yeah,
Okay,
because
yes, sir.
I think you've got some good
So-
ideas here.
So I'll make a motion to amend, and I would like to, in the second and fifth line, change executive director to economic director. That's the first amendment.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to amend. Did you catch that?
First by Mr. T. Smith, second by Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries
Speaking for me.
unanimously. Would you read that back?
Absolutely. Ordinance to amend ordinance number 1969-29, known as the Arbor Report, as ordinance 1982-154, created the position of Economic Development Director. Council now finds a real and present need to reestablish the position as amended.
Okay, and my second, I'd like to make a motion to amend, would like to add should reside in Marion County within the 90 days of hire to preferred qualifications, under preferred qualifications.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes, I believe in 2009, the Ohio Supreme Court ruled that you cannot require a person to live within their jurisdiction unless it's a matter of rapid response.
Is residency mentioned already? And you just want to move it? You're just trying to add it in?
I'm trying to add it in. I didn't see it mentioned.
You're trying to add it in under the preferred qualification
Yes,
or required?
yeah, preferred qualifications.
So I address, so
Yeah.
I hear two different issues, I think. I think you want to change preferred to required.
Yes, I just
And
haven't gotten there yet.
I would caution against that only because in all of the research we did, they said that 80% of the economic development directors that communities ended up with didn't go to college to be an economic development director. They were doing another position in the city, or maybe owned a car dealership or something like that, or were in the business community. I have no problem with the residency requirement. That obviously was something we talked about. I actually think that's a great idea, that we should be able to make that a requirement, that if they're going to take the job within so many days or months, they have to move within the county.
Certainly. Well, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I
Yeah.
plan to, I want to change preferred qualifications to required, because I plan on asking the council to move the bachelor's degree requirement over to desired qualities and skills.
I can live with that.
Okay.
Mr. Law Director, is there a residency requirement?
I'm glad you asked. I had a little assistance from Chief McDonald. But Section 9.481 of the Ohio Revised Code prohibits the municipality from requiring residency as a condition of employment, except in very certain conditions, which were already mentioned as far as response time.
So we cannot.
You cannot.
Okay.
Just to point out, we already do on other jobs.
I didn't even write this law. I mean, so there have been a number of discussions about where we go because of can-do's failures. And at one time, there was a discussion about contracting for services. If we contracted with a third party to be the economic developer, we could certainly put that in as a requirement. But this has evolved to a more defined and more rigid structure. And I think that's beneficial. That is, the person would be employed by the city government, and contributions from the county would support their salary and benefits. But what happens along the way is, you've got this law that says you can't require them to live within the municipality. It actually says, no political subdivision shall require any of its employees as a condition of employment to reside in any specific area of the state. I don't know.
Mr. Chalmers.
To the law director,
Yeah.
could you mess with the salary? So you have a in-county salary versus out-of-county salary. That'd be one way to get around it.
We could talk further. I don't think it'd be the first choice to get to the desired end. The desired end is to have someone that's doing this position, part of our community. I think we could probably find different ways to come to that same end, but one thing that this clearly says is you can't make it a condition of employment.
Mr. Ratliff?
We could prefer it though, correct?
You can prefer it, because you're not making it a condition, an absolute.
So we could place it under preferred qualifications.
Yes.
I'll make that my motion to amend, to place a preference to reside within the city and county of Marion. County of Marion.
Where would you put that?
Under preferred qualifications.
If you change required.
We haven't done
We're not-
that.
we haven't- we haven't done that.
We're not there.
You're leaving it there then.
We're going to leave it there.
Mr. T. Smith at the first, I think Mr. Rollins is asking.
And you want that within
Mr. Rollins,
90
you want
days,
to
correct?
Yes, sir.
I think it's a little quick, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say
That's a lot-
Could we move that out a little bit? 90 is
I'd say
really
6
quick.
months to a year to find a house if they.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I got no problem with it.
Six-
Just bump it
six-
out.
6 months is probably
6
right.
months is adequate.
So we want to go
Rephrase that
180?
then, Mr. Smith?
Yes, that's fine.
And
180.
Mr. Rollins, did you want a second?
I will second now, yes.
And Mr. Prater, you had your hand up before. Did I miss you on something?
It's okay.
Okay.
6 months?
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Just 6 months, or was it 6 months to a year?
6 months.
Ms. Lang?
So I have a question, so if it's under, it's preferred qualification, and if we're doing, right, I understand that, but if we're saying, preference that they reside in Marion County within 6 months, what happens if they don't?
We don't.
Then they
prefer
don't.
that.
Right, there's nothing we can,
There's no teeth to it.
I just wanted that clarified.
It's just a preference,
Okay.
basically.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. You ready?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickle?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. As amended.
We need to read it again.
Yes, please read.
Ordinance to amend ordinance number 1969-29, also known as the Yarger Report, as ordinance 1982-154 created the position of Economic Development Director. Council now finds a real and present need to reestablish the position and declaring as amended.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yeah, make a motion to amend to add, must attend quarterly job and economic committee meetings. And we should add that to, actually, I don't really understand where we would put that in this body here. Under
Descriptions.
Yeah. Under operations.
Under operations and fiscal management, that in the summer.
So your motion is to move that?
No, my motion is to add to operations on the summary, or no, on the, what is this called?
Page 6.
The job description, on the exhibit, that they must attend quarterly job and economic committee meetings. It's not in here currently.
Do you have a quarterly meeting?
It might entice them to call one.
I saw Mr. Ratliff and then Mr. Schauber.
Just to provide clarification, because we spoke earlier today, I think the intent is to provide an update to the Jobs and Economic Development Committee at least quarterly.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
That sounds good.
Mr. Schauber?
Yeah,
I was just going to try to help with the amendment language. What language do we have with can do now? That they are required to present to council at council's request or something? Should we have that language?
No.
No?
So it says annual. It says an annual report.
I know it says annual report, but I think it says also whenever council requests, correct?
Well,
Or when requested.
several years when I was the chair, we did it quarterly, because that's what we wanted.
I'll second his amendment, whatever it is.
Do you not like it?
No, I just trying to make the language clear to capture what your intent is, that's it.
Okay, we have a second from Mr. Schaber, but we have questions
Yeah.
and other
So
concerns. So,
basically, we're asking, we're saying we're requiring them to present a quarterly report to council or economic development?
The Jobs and Economic
Development Committee.
Which is council.
Jobs and
Well, not if it's a committee meeting. That's what I'm.
It's still council.
Yes.
But it has here, prepares monthly reports to Economic Development Board outlining activity profit. It already, isn't that already there? It says monthly reports, not quarterly.
Economic Development Board, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know what the board is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. R. Smith, did you have another question?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that the amendment is restated before we vote so we can understand exactly what it is.
Under the operations and fiscal management portion of the job description, a new bullet point will be added that states will present a quarterly report to the Job and Economic Development Committee.
All right. Well, we have Mr. Smith's amendment in a second, so you ready?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Amend.
My apologies to the rest of the council if I made that much more complicated than it needed to be.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
So,
Let me read it again before we get much further. Ordinance to amend ordinance number 1969-29, also known as the Yarder Report, as ordinance 1982-154, created the position of Economic Development Director. Council now finds a real and present need to reestablish this position as amended.
and I would recommend we let this sit as a first read.
Is that a motion?
No,
Just a recommendation?
it's a recommendation.
Mr. Schaber, you had your hand up.
So since through this job description amendment, we gave Jobs and Economic Development a responsibility, should we amend the definition of Jobs and Economic Development Committee in council rules so that it's not forgotten? Because right now it's just in a job description. That could be done at a later time, but we just put this rule in there for a committee that's in a job description, and we have it nowhere else. So I don't know if that would be legislation and codes, or...
Yes, that would be legislation codes.
Okay. What do you do?
We'll see.
Mr. Ratliff?
One thought that may need looked at in the future is if we will or depending on what the can-do board looks like, if council still wants or has a spot on the board. And I think we have two. Yes.
But I've seen some of the progress and the work they're doing with realigning and making it, and it's still going to be the mayor, a commissioner, maybe a council person still on that board.
Okay.
So we still have representation on that
Okay,
board.
I just wasn't sure because we weren't funding it if that was, okay.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Dumpster?
I appreciate all the input, Mike. I mean, it helps to hear everybody's thoughts on this, and some of those I certainly would never have thought of until somebody mentioned it, so thank you for the amendment.
What's the most we ever gave Candy?
50, I think they used to give 50, 40.
We was up to 80-ish.
Well,
It was a long time ago. Yeah, when I first got on council, it was close to 80.
And then we dialed that back.
Yeah, and then, so 2009, the Great Recession time, we cut that in half. That's how we got to the 45.
Cut to 45.
Yes.
And that's where it was when we decided we're not funding
41.6.
them anymore. Is that correct?
What's that?
Was it at 45? when we decided not to fund them anymore?
41 checks.
Most recently, we got 41.
So is your question directed to the 2009 when we made the cut?
No, my question is, what was the last amount of money that we funded?
41,600.
41,600, thank you. And is the 80,000 that we've committed for this job, is that our half, or is that total?
80,000 will be our half.
So we're gonna pay
Yeah.
$160,000 a year for a director. We're gonna pay 80, but the director will make 160.
No, the director, right now, the position is listed at up to 120,000. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of variables would play into that, up to 120. So say you paid somebody that's really well experienced, they come in here, they're a rock star, you're gonna pay them 120. You still have to account for the benefits. So our benefits, insurance, healthcare, the workers' comp, their retirement, all of that, that's why it's 160 instead of 120.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was part of the reason that we decided we weren't going to fund Can Do anymore is because we weren't seeing a return on our investment in the economic development within Marion? Is that why that was? So would it be, and I don't know if you can do this, and I don't know if anybody would take the job if you did this, could you make it incentive-based? Could you make it, say you get $84,000 and you can get up to the 120, but we want to see that there's real economic growth going on in Marion?
I can answer you just from my experience and the research we did. I didn't see a business model like that. So I can't say that nobody would apply, but that wasn't something I saw that people did. No.
I'm just worried about paying out the money and then getting nothing in back, because the person is like, oh, well, it's gonna take me too long to get up and running, and this, that, and the third. This is a community that does, if you scratch it deep enough, there is economic growth there. But you have to be able and willing to mine for the economic growth. It's not gonna be just out there. It's not gonna be laying on the side of the road. So,
I totally agree with you on that, and because this is an exempt position and it would be a position within the city, if we decided you're not working, or it's not working for us, it wouldn't be here anymore.
So,
because we would be able to fire that person and hire somebody else if they're not, we wouldn't go through the whole rigmarole that we've gone through the last year and a half with, somebody that really wasn't fulfilling our needs, and us not having the ability to say, that person really shouldn't be leading that department.
So even though the commissioners are kicking in a portion, this would be considered an exempt position within the city of Marion moving forward, which means city council could come together and say, they got that go, and then move it to you.
Right.
Right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Daniels? And then Ms. Slam?
Fire.
That's a good question.
Speak to this issue, but I'm looking at that sports. I never thought that I would see this point in time. I really didn't. And what I mean by that is in 2006, when I was a county commissioner, you probably go back and read a few Marion Star articles about what the organization was like back then. And unfortunately, we changed the director, and I look back at that as one mistake. I let it live. Can Do should have died then. It had become self-interested. Its board members had become self-interested. Not as a matter of opinion. It is a matter of fact. The Attorney General's office was involved. It said they were acting in their own interests. This is what happens, unfortunately, with a public-private partnership. The public gets the bill. The private partnership generally works on its own behalf. It leverages public money to, in this case, enrich itself. This is why I never thought that we would come here. I never thought we would end up with a government, yourselves included, the mayor's administration included, that would be strong enough to fix it, instead of actually just letting it sit and linger. Oh, he's my buddy, I really don't want to piss him off, I don't want to make his friends mad, like we've seen so many times before. There was action on this. So not to toot the mayor's horn, but I would say that if you hired a publicly funded and someone who worked for the public, and they didn't perform the job, I think you've got enough gumption here to release that person and not allow your personal feelings to get in the way of the public good. The other benefit is this. In a private organization, they didn't have to give you their records. You could go over and ask for what you wanted. Why were you entitled to them? It's a private organization. And there were people that were refused records. The entire filing cabinet of an economic development officer's, his entire or her entire filing cabinet is a public record. There's transparency, and they know that. They also don't have the incentive to work for private companies so that this private company can convert public money into field studies and then give back a contribution that can then be used for the director's salary. He actually or she actually has to work for the public, and they don't have this perverse incentive of actually working against economic development. You know, like we're taking your most valuable land and turning it into solar panels. What the hell did you invest all that infrastructure out there for? You wanted jobs. It's a wonder a data center didn't get set up out there, just for a pun. But at any rate, job creation is what you're looking for. I'm just glad to see this moment. I didn't believe it would happen.
You know, Mr. Daniel, some of the conversations that we've had in the past and everything about this, when I came on the council almost 2 years ago, I had to get acquainted with the situation, the problem that was maybe with Can-Do. It's the inability to get the ball across the goal line, you know. But I really do think that if something is broken, which it had been, and you just continue to go on with the system that ain't working, it's the definition of what they say, stupidity, to keep doing the same thing over and over. And I think this is a positive move. The future, it's kind of radical in a way, it seems, maybe to some people, but I think this is something we need to do. Because we need jobs in Marion.
Well, you've got the expertise locally to make this happen. It's creating the right incentives to move people in that direction. Incentives drive everything. And I think this is the positioning of this program in a very beneficial way. I think you'll see results in this. So,
Thank you. Ms. Lang?
So, just for clarification, the hiring and firing, that would be commissioners, mayor, council, or is it, who's going to oversee and do, you know, the evaluation and the determination and?
This person's going to actually answer to the mayor, just like my other directors do.
Okay. And then the second question I have is funding the position.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a numbers person. And, you know, what is the plan to fund that position?
It'll be a general funded position. I mean, but so if you think about it in the sense of math, simple math, and saying that we were given 41.6 to Can-Do already. So in turn, we're bumping our portion up to 80. So So we're talking another round figure, $40,000 that we will have to come up with as a city. A lot of different ideas in my head about where that money will come from, and just not, we're not 100% positive. I got a good budget director, hopefully she'll figure it out for me, but not to put her on the spot, but we'll get there. I mean, I think we'll get there, and I like to liken it to Zoe's position, right? I mean, where were we going to get the money to fund Zoe's position? And we instead of having two people in the zoning and compliance area, we stuck with just one when one retired, and we were able to save some money there. But look at the return we got on our investment, right? I think she's up to $1.8-ish million in grants that she's gotten already. So, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, the mouse and the cheese. I mean, we got to have one to have the other. And in order for us to move forward and get this economic development going, we need somebody here that's going to really push that. And granted, it is going to cost us a little more money. And I'd like to tell you I know exactly where our money's at right now, but I can't. And hopefully we'll know that here in the near future. But it's certainly a concern. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you, Mayor Collins.
Is the floor open for public comment?
You may come up, sure.
Because I didn't hear it called.
No, I hadn't gotten to public comments yet, but I was
Well, we had a number of people
asking people to come up. Well, just because we had public hearings tonight and everything, so. If you have something about this issue?
Terry Klein, 400 East George, Marion. You know, we talked about how we're going to fund this. That's one issue. Does the auditor know where Marion stands financially? Have we ever arrived at that
It's
yet?
not really the subject that we're discussing right now, though.
Well, we're talking about financing an entity that I don't believe has been created yet. And yet you're looking for somebody to run that entity of economic development. So I think it's important that we talk about, we're going to throw $80,000 into it. Where's that money coming from? I mean, we just heard, well, we'll find it. Well,
Right,
so
well,
they have a way to
this,
start a business, I should think.
we also said, though, that this tonight was just a first reading about this issue, so.
Well, that's fine. I mean, you know, we're looking at the Exhibit B that has all the amendments. I have a question. Anybody know what 1 Marion is? It's in the exhibit, part of the ordinance you want to pass.
I don't know for certain, but I'm assuming it was the collaboration with this position with the county and their funding of it, as well as Can Do and their contribution to the administrative fees of it.
Well, we
I don't know.
have assumptions.
I'm asking, yeah.
Yeah. Can anybody answer that? What is 1 Marion?
So 1 Marion right now is the concept of the collaboration between the city, the county, regional planning, the Chamber of Commerce. It's collaboration and Can Do, a collaboration of all those people together trying to move Marion forward economically, in economic development fashion. So there's no official designation, it's just our concept, is our idea of trying to get all of those entities together, working, the horse is all pulling the wagon in the same direction, instead of everybody working in different silos and us not having a clue about a project that they might be doing in regional planning, and it's open line of communication back and forth. That's it. It's just a concept of where we hope to be moving forward with all of it.
It's a concept only and not an entity.
Correct.
Thank you.
Or nothing in fact, actually. It seems like it shouldn't even be included in here since it doesn't really exist. Or there should at least be a definition of what was just explained in this. Also, business attraction. I think Mr. Thaddeus Smith made some amendments which shocked me. You're paying attention.
I try.
Let's see, under business attraction, project management, I think it needs to be, well, business retention and expansion, coordinates and conducts business visits with target industries. Maybe a definition of what those industries are so we know where we're headed. Under community and stakeholder relations, this person will take the lead to minimize pressure points and potential conflicts with effective communication. I think it could use a little clarification on that.
Yes, I think we're going to be doing some more amending when we return to this. That's the impression I got. We left this, like I said, we left this as first read.
I'm kind of curious though, under that, in addition, this role will involve conducting a review and audit of current zoning code. I can see how it could relate to economic development, but working hand in hand with regional planning would seem to make sense, and not necessarily under the purview of economic development. Let's see, what else? Desired qualities and skills. I think it's page 6. I can understand proficiency in Microsoft 365. It has other related software, executive, Pulse, whatever. The thing that I found really interesting is preferred experience with AutoCAD and ArcGIS. Why? What does that have to do with economic development?
Has to do with being able to read blueprints.
He's not an engineer. It's not under the purview of economic development. AutoCAD is auto computer-aided design. ArcGIS, global information systems. Those are totally unnecessary. This software would fall under the purview of regional planning or engineering. We're not looking for an engineer. The economic development individual is a salesperson with knowledge and some of the government goings on that help economic development, etc.
I would recommend, sir, that if you feel that passionate about this, why don't you make these amendments and present them to either myself or any other person on council so we can take it up together.
I just now presented it to you. It's under your...
But I'm saying you have a lot of points in the whole thing.
Well,
So I'm saying you can.
As the president just said, you guys are going to be rehashing this and working it out.
And present your ideas so we can consider them while we're rehashing
Doing it
them.
now, if you can write that down, that I made that suggestion.
Mhm.
It's being recorded.
We will have it.
I have a
Yes.
question.
We're recording. Mr. Arsmith?
Yes, if you notice, Mr. Klein, that it says preferred experience with AutoCAD and yet not required. So
Right.
we would prefer that person to have that knowledge so that they can perform their job better. The more you know, like you said, they need knowledge. The more you know, the better you can do a job. And that's why that's in there.
This has nothing to do with that.
It has something to do with knowledge and knowing what's going on
But
there.
it has nothing to do with economic development.
I think it's
There is not an economic, well, that shows your limited knowledge of economic development.
Sir, you don't need to
Okay,
insult my
let's
fellow
move on.
councilman here. He has an opinion just like yours. He didn't insult me.
Don't keep your panties in your pocket.
I'm not wearing panties, sir.
You know, the biggest thing is, who wrote Exhibit B? Who wrote Exhibit B?
I would assume the administration.
Again, an assumption.
That's correct. It's an integration that was written with the help and the guidance of a lot of other economic developers in the area that gave us suggestions on what we should have in a job description. It was also written while looking at other job descriptions for other locations that for economic development. So we would use that.
Well, as I said before, I know we're gonna come back to this and tweak wordings and things like that, because right in this section, we had some issues with executive director, as Sullivan mentioned, so.
Okay, well,
So-
why is there such a push to get a director of jobs and economic development when this entity you want to create doesn't exist yet?
The city is definitely here. We are definitely living in Marion, and there is a county of
The
Marion.
department does not, though.
The Department of what?
What are you gonna call it? Economic development or?
Director, yes, Economic Development Director.
And that's all it is. Just a
There's no department. We're just gonna hire an economic development director. We don't have an office. Don't know if the office is gonna be here.
We do have an
Or
office.
over
We
across
do
the
have an
street.
office, yes.
Okay, well, point taken, Mr. Klein. I think we're gonna have to move on here. I did see that Ms. Warren, Ms. behind you, might have an answer to a couple of your questions or concerns.
Well, Tiku, Olam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wrong language.
Okay.
I have one more on this regional planning commission. I guess 2 points on to make. One, I do think that, and maybe the position doesn't necessarily have to have ArcGIS or AutoCAD skills, but we use them quite a lot, because one of the most important things with economic development is the availability of utilities. And that's where, I guess, kind of this whole team thing is, and it has always been, where the engineer's office, the sewer department, whatever, everybody kind of needs to be in the group when we're dealing with any particular prospect, because where they're located, whether it's zoning is appropriate, whether the utility capacity is appropriate, that is more influential in some way than whether or not they like our community, because if they can't actually locate here, just similar to real estate, location. And then many of you may not have been around or closely affiliated with Marion City when it did have an economic development department. It was here on the third floor. They handled a lot of the grants, many of the things that regional planning did. And then also the revolving loan program at, I can't remember, I'm going to say the early 1990s, that regional planning took on the city's economic development duties. We started to take over their revolving loan fund, we took over their grant development department in terms of the incentives such as your tax abatements, CRAs, ESIDs, any of these kind of financial toolbox items. And my guess is that if you have a position filled back here at City Hall, we'll still work closely with them, because as they're trying to determine what either an existing business needs to expand or retain locally, or a new prospect that's coming in, we're still going to need to, somebody has to be the fisherman, somebody's going to reel them in, somebody's going to make sure they get what they need once they're here, that they're properly located, if there's going to be a public incentive. And that's kind of how that teamwork that the mayor referenced tends to work when it's working well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are moving on to item number 6, resolution 2025-021.
Resolution accepting the amount and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor and declaring an emergency. I apologize, this did not end up in your packet. It was the resolution on the table when you came up this evening. I do apologize. I don't know how you missed it. It was posted online. It was in the administration's packet. It wasn't even in my packet.
You got it now.
Ms. Lang, this comes out of your committee.
This came out of Finance Committee with a 3-0 recommendation to approve. Basically is identifying the tax levies that we're going to be receiving next year. Is that correct? Auditor? Ms. McGinley?
It's accepting the tax rates that were set forth by the county.
Thank you. Ms. Rapp?
So in committee, because I had thought it was late, and so I asked the deputy auditor at that point when this was due, and I think he told us it was due on October the 15th, so we would need to pass it tonight. I didn't think it was right, but I wasn't sure enough to say it then, but everything that I can have looked at says this was due October 1st. And that's, I had thought it was due the end of September, but everything that I can find says it's due October 1st. And we run the risk that, unless they just, really like us, I don't think after we don't meet that deadline, I don't think we're actually due under the law any money from this, because we didn't meet the deadline. So, I don't know where we go from there. I think it's about $250,000 a year. More than that. I don't know when we receive this from the county, when we get this information. But, this can be an extremely costly mistake. And I don't know what the plan is from here.
I can put a call into the county auditor tomorrow and see what action we need to take moving forward.
Can you confirm the due date?
Yes.
It was October 1st?
Oh, I thought you meant tomorrow when I called. I agree with Mr. Ratliff. Everything I've read said October 1st. So I can confirm that with the county auditor tomorrow and verify. But that would be my next course of action, is to consult them and determine what the next steps are.
Ms. Lang?
So if we would suspend the 3 reads and we make a motion to approve it and they don't accept it, then what?
I mean, personally, I think we have to suspend the rules and pass it tonight. We're late.
Again.
I mean, in my opinion, we're at the county's mercy to just say, well, we're going to pay you anyway, even though we don't owe you any money.
Ms. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
We have a motion to suspend the 3 readings rule and a second from Mr. Prater.
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yep.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Rollins?
I will make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve and a second from Mr. Smith. Any other comments or questions before we go on? Mr. Schauber?
So, should we have a discussion on the what-ifs if there's not this isn't accepted? Because these funds aren't accepted, this changes our entire budget for '26. Because if we don't get these dollars, we don't get these dollars.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Schauber? You're in a position, you only have one option to take. You've suspended the rules. This was presented to you at Finance on October 6th, 5 days after October 1st. Council's been provided it. Adopt it and ask the auditor to report back on the comments from the county auditor.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Any other questions or concerns from council?
I mean, it doesn't do us any good, but I can have it across the street at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
You have to get signatures prior to that.
I'll have signatures.
Anything else? All right. Let's take the vote.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next is item number 7, ordinance 2025-107.
Ordinance appropriating funds to the formula grant for the fiscal year 2023 grants for the year ending December 31st, 2025.
Ms. Lang?
This came out of Finance Committee with a 3-0 recommendation. I believe the deadline to close out, thank you, is October the 31st. If there's any questions, Evelyn can answer those questions.
Mr. Rollins?
I would make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the 3 readings rule.
Second is Mr. Dickel.
Oh, yes, Mr. Dickel is second. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion to suspend carries. Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Collins, a second from Mr. Prater. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's go ahead.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8, ordinance 2025-108.
Ordinance making additional appropriations to the insurance proceeds fund for the year ending December 31st, 2025.
Ms. Lang, also from Finance?
This came out of the Finance Committee with 3-0, no recommendation. Ms. Torino can answer and explain. These are insurance proceeds that we've received for fire, and we're holding those proceeds, so just putting the money in the fund allows us to write the check when the project is finished and inspected.
Mr. Bach?
I think you have a question.
Sorry.
Christian Dunstan, 211 East Fairground. Why are the amounts different?
Pardon?
Why are the amounts different? One says 82,225, the other one says 77,000.
One is a current request, and the other is the New World balance total as of the writing of this.
So that's the balance in our account right now, and we're going to add an additional 83
So we have 77,000 right now?
that we're holding right now, yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, cool, thank you.
Ms. Bach?
Motion to suspend the 3 readings.
With motion to suspend the 3 readings, and I saw Mr. R. Smith. questions or comments? All right, it's
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
motion to suspend the 3 readings carries. Mr. Barr,
Motion to adopt.
motion to adopt from Mr. Barr,
Second.
and I heard a second from Mr. Dickel. Anything else in the way of discussion or questions? All right, let's go.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 9, ordinance 2025-109.
Ordinance requesting additional appropriations to the SCMR fund in the below listed line items for the year ending December 31st, 2025.
Ms. Lang?
This came out of Finance Committee. I believe it was a 3-0.
No recommendation.
No recommendation, I believe. Basically, this is money, again, that we've received from contractors that they put up front. Once the project is inspected, then we refund the bond back to them. So these are fees that we've collected. We want to put them in the fund so that when the job is done and inspected, we can pay those bonds back without delay.
Ms. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to suspend the 3 reading rule.
We have a motion to suspend the 3 readings, and Mr. Smith, I saw your hand up for the
Yes, please.
second. T. Smith. When you're ready.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously to suspend the 3 readings rule. Mr. Rollins?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to adopt, and second, I'll give it to you, Mr. Prater. I'm not sure who was up first. Second to Ms. Prater. Anything further? Any discussion or questions? Mr. Barr?
I just wanted to take a second to commend Ms. Triano for being proactive and having these funds available for the fire insurance and for the contractors. So when this work is completed, there's no delays in them getting that money back. So,
That's
thank
what we want to do. We want to
Absolutely.
get stewards of their money and do our part.
we appreciate your proactiveness. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Ordinance 109. Moving on to item 10, ordinance 2025-110.
Ordinance authorizing and ratifying the public auction of one vehicle previously utilized by the City of Marion Municipal Airport and declaring it is no longer necessary for any public purpose and declaring an emergency.
Ms. Lang?
Again, this came out of Finance Committee with a 3-0 recommendation to approve. And the auction was held out at the airport. There was a list of items that was given to council to approve for auction, and this item was not on that list. The item has been sold, and so we just need to approve to add this to that so we can get the title to the person that needs to have it.
Mr. Barr?
Motion to suspend the 3 readings.
A motion to suspend the 3 readings, and Mr. Dickel has the second. Mr. Barr has the motion. Are you ready?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber?
Yes.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Prater?
Yes.
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously to suspend the 3 readings. And Mr. Barr?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt, and a second from Mr. Rollins. Any further questions or comments? All right, hearing none.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff?
Yes.
Mr. Schauber.
Yes.
Ms. Lang.
Yes.
Mr. T. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Prater.
Yes.
Mr. Dickel.
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Rollins.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to, for administration or council, any other matters not on the agenda? Yes, Mr. Powell?
I know, this is good news, everybody wants to hear this.
Yeah.
The lot that we gave to Tri Rivers, 469,
Park Boulevard.
Park Boulevard, we're breaking ground on Thursday.
Good.
Here's are just the outside views of the house. I invite anybody to come out,
Yeah.
pretty excited about this. They already have most of the wall and roof systems already built in the shop, so pretty exciting stuff.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. Ms. Lang?
I just want to add that's at 9:30 on Thursday for the river.
At 469, yep, 9:30. On the 16th, that is Thursday, right?
16th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can be there.
What was that location again, Mr. Powell?
469 Park Boulevard.
2 lots from the overpass.
It's probably the only new house on
All right, thank you very much, that is great news. Anything else from admin or council? Mr. Ratner?
Yeah, so at our last finance committee, there was a discussion about a ESID payment in 2024 that Deputy Auditor Watts and I disagreed on if that could be paid or not because the person had not paid it. And our law director was going to look into that and report to us tonight, so I was going to ask if you have had...
So since the last council meeting, I have reviewed the agreements in regards to the brickyard, and there's no obligation of the city of Marion to contribute any of general fund monies towards payments associated with the ESID program.
And so, because that's extremely important information for the auditor's office, who I'm going to say had a misunderstanding of what the ESID agreement was. Because luckily for the general fund, the person paid the back taxes. So we recouped the money that we, like, literally advanced public money to a private business. And, you know, we can't do business like that because we put people's money at risk. And, you know, luckily we came out unscathed this time, but that's not always going to happen.
Thank you. Anything further from council? Anything in the way of public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee meetings. Ms. Lang, Airport Lands and Buildings?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. R. Smith, Jobs and Economic Development?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Dickel, Legislation, Codes and Regulations?
6:30, new liquor permit request.
And Mr. T. Smith, Municipal Services, Parks and Rec?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Ratliff, Public Utilities?
I have nothing to call at this time.
Mr. T. Smith, your Regional Planning?
Yes, it's the fourth Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the Prospect Room in the Marion County Building.
Thank you. Mr. Barr, Streets and Sewers?
Nothing at this time.
Traffic Commission, Mr. Barr?
Nothing at this time.
Mr. Prater, Zoning and Annexation?
Nothing at this time.
And Ms. Lang?
I wish. But it's my understanding we have another vehicle that was missed at the auction, so that will be.
No, we did that tonight.
No, there's another one.
There's another one.
That's one hell of an auction. One for the airport and one for the.
Someone about you.
This vehicle's starting up all over.
I was
Do we
asked.
own City Hall any longer?
Is that it?
Anyway.
Well, we know you have old business and whatnot, so.
And then there will be old business reports and possible legislation. 6:35.
6:35. And with that, we are adjourned at 8:49.
Hallelujah.
sir.
I thought Linda got back.